Hey, what's up, fasters? Dr. LeGrand here for another fasting video. And today we're going to answer one of you guys' questions. I just posted a little while ago, asked if there are certain videos that you guys want me to post, and you guys answered, asked a couple questions. So appreciate that you guys ask about, helps me kind of give some ideas about doing certain videos. But this question comes from Fanil Makanam, if I'm pronouncing that right. But they asked how to break refeed after a long-term fast like 21 to 40 days. So I'm actually going to talk about how to break a fast for short-term as well as a long-term fast, because I know there is some people who don't do long-term fasts like 40 days. Most people don't do that, but some people do like 7-day fasts or even just short, 1 or 3-day fast. So I'm going to talk about how to break a short-term fast as well as a long-term fast in this video. So if you're new here and haven't subscribed and want to know more about health tips, alternative practices, and treatment, as well as fasting videos that we talked about in this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any other future videos. So first off, I'm going to talk about short-term fast, how to break a short-term fast. And there's 5 steps that I'm going to talk about with breaking a short-term fast. The first step that I suggest, so this, when we're talking about short-term fast, I'm talking about like 24 to 36 hour water fasts. So when you're doing a short-term water fast for 24 or 36 hours, I personally like doing, if your body's up to it, is doing an exercise, whether it's running or going to the gym, lifting weights before you break your fast. And the reason why I say this is because really there's a lot of scientific evidence that your body can actually burn 20% more fat during that time when you actually, before you break your fast, if you do your exercise during your fasted state. Not only that, your human growth hormones do increase exponentially, as well as testosterone levels for men can also increase. This can help build more muscle. So really doing that at the tail end of your fast before you break it is a great thing to do. The second step that I do recommend is drinking apple cider vinegar 30 minutes before you actually consume any food. The reason I say this is because not only does apple cider vinegar help regulate blood sugar levels, because your blood sugar levels will spike no matter what kind of foods that you're consuming when you have that first intake. So it's always good to take that apple cider vinegar to help regulate your blood sugars, but it also helps pre-digest foods as well as get things prepped in the digestive system to be able to digest those foods, because it's been a while since you've consumed foods. It can increase pancreatic enzymes, it can stimulate the liver and the gallbladder for if you are consuming fats to be able to take the apple cider vinegar 30 minutes before you actually consume food. The third step that I do recommend is taking bitter herbs about 10 to 5 minutes before you do consume that food. Now, why I recommend bitter herbs, so when I'm talking about bitter herbs, I prefer taking in more liquid form, and that is things such as like dandelion root, also taking things such as like golden seal, milk thistle. These are great herbs that can help stimulate the liver and gallbladder, but it also helps by just the taste of it can produce a lot of pancreatic enzymes or digestive enzymes. We have digestive enzymes all the way through, our stomach, digestive tract, all the way up to our mouth in our saliva that pre-digest and help digest our foods. So by consuming just a little bit of bitter herbs before consuming our first meal is a great way to be able to digest the foods. Step 4 is now when you're going to eat your food is to keep it very, very light. Because you have not been consuming food for 24 to 36 hours, you need to keep it very light. And what I mean by that is by consuming foods that are very light is something like simple as just a veggie soup, very small cup with a little bit of veggies, and maybe even bone broth would be really great. But just something very light and simple. I mean, you could even do like celery sticks with like a little bit of nut butter, but just keep it light, don't consume much. This just helps prep your body a little bit to get things starting to go again. Step 5 is once you finally have eaten a little bit of food, wait about an hour or 2 before consuming a bigger size meal. And in this bigger size meal, because now your body's a little prepped, it's gotten used to a little bit of food, and it's things are starting to move along again. but keep it pre-digested. So what I mean by pre-digested is something like a soup that's been cooked, also like the meat has already been cooked, like through a slow cooker, something that's already kind of cooked because it's going to be easier for the digestive system to break down the food versus something like a just raw. Raw foods can be harsh, especially for people who do have digestive issues, have more of a sensitive stomach, to keep it more pre-digested. All right, so now moving on to how to break. That was for breaking a short-term fast. Now let's move on to how to break a long-term fast. So when I'm talking about long-term fast, this is something, if you do like a 7, 14 plus day fast. This person asked, if you did 21 or 40 days, this also does apply. If you do tend to do that, I do highly encourage you to have somebody, health practitioner, that's looking after you if you're going to plan on doing a long fast like that. So the first step is actually doing steps 2 through 5 from the previous for the short-term fast. So that's not doing the exercise, because usually when you're fasting that long, your body's going to be pretty weak, but doing things that I talked about from steps 2 through 4. So that's, again, adding the apple cider vinegar, doing the bitter herbs, and then keeping your very first time when you're eating something, it's going to be very small and simple and pre-digested, as well as when you finally wait a couple hours to consume also something that's pre-digested, such as veggie soups. Okay, so step 2 would be basically your first day that you're consuming food after a long-term fast is to keep it with veggie soups and bone broth. Keep it pretty much liquids. You shouldn't really be consuming really anything solid, not just quite yet. You should do this for about 1 to 2 days, at least 1 day, depending how long you've done your fast. If you've hitting more of the 40 days, then yeah, you should be doing it for like 2 or 3 days of just keeping it more of, just something that's more just liquid based and not solids. Step 3 for breaking a long-term fast is on the second day that you're consuming foods, you can add some healthy fats like avocados, a little bit of egg, stuff like that in your soup. So it should still be pre-digested, and consuming that and keeping that, for the second to even third day of consuming those types of foods. Step 4 would be basically you can add some meats, but they still need to be pre-digested. So still use like a slow cooker so it's still easy to consume for the digestive system. Step 5, this would be the 4th day or the 5th day, depending how long you've been adding the foods back in. But you can start adding healthy carbs in at this point. And really at the same time, if you're starting to have some digestive complaints, a lot of times, depending how long you've been doing your fast, sometimes you need some digestive support. So doing some like digestive enzymes or pancreatic enzymes, consuming those after your meals can help digest your foods. So always incorporating something like that in the meantime. Step 6 would be, by this time you're able to be about the 5th or 6th day of consuming foods. By this time you can add dairy back in if you want to. Now, at any point when you're adding these certain foods, and the reason why I categorize it this way is because you can actually determine if you do have a sensitivity to certain types of foods. So if you do have a sensitivity to certain carbs or bread, for example, you'll know when you actually add it in within like the 4th day or so. And if you do have a reaction to it, then you know you have some kind of food sensitivity. Then when you start adding dairy, you can decide if you have, a dairy issue, sensitivity going on there when you're eating dairy again for the first time. You want to kind of keep these separate as you're first introducing foods back into the body. But I always recommend, doing vegetables first, then adding, things like just bone broth, but, keeping it more liquid based like veggie juices or veggie soups, as well as then you can start incorporating meats again that are pre-digested and so forth. Now by the time you hit the 7th day, so really you should take, I would say, about a week or so, depending when you're doing a long-term fast, to kind of get your body back to adapted to the foods again, whether it's you've done 7, 14 days. You could take 2 weeks of, extending this. If you've done like a 40-day fast, probably encourage you, to do about 2 or 3 weeks of slowly introducing foods, just kind of extend the time they introduce each category of certain food groups. Now the last and final step, step 7, and I forgot to kind of mention this with a short-term fast, but with any time you're breaking a fast, is trying to keep a healthy diet, a very well-balanced, healthy diet while you're off the fast. Because if you don't, you'll start really regaining the weight back in, and you definitely don't want to go into your old eating habits. The best thing to honestly do if you're planning on doing a long-term fast is to change your diet beforehand. Trying to eat healthier, incorporating more vegetables into your diet. Just getting used to that before deciding to do a long-term fast. Not only will it make it easier during the long-term fast, but also when you break the fast, you're already used to eating that way, and it's just easier to keep and stay eating that way and keeping the weight off, as well as keeping more health benefits that come from just eating well. So that is it for today. If you guys have any more questions about how to break a fast, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And also let me know, how do you guys break a fast? What do you guys typically do? How long do you tend to take to break a fast? Go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And if you are new here and have not subscribed to our channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, you can check out where I did my 7-day fast journey. I documented it, and I'll leave that playlist over here. As well, if you want to know more about other fasting videos, I have them over here. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.